All right? So he's talking about fighting the virus with disinfectants and ultraviolet light. Roll tape.
And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
He's just ruminating. But don't do that, Mr. President. Don't speculate on medical matters. I've been covering this since January 22nd. I don't not one time did I speculate on anything medical. Not once. Because I don't know anything about it. And speculation in this whole story is wrong. And you ruminate about, well, maybe this and that. You're going to get it. And of course, it took 2.5 seconds for the media to go, he wants you to drink Clorox. He's telling you to drink Clorox. And then it carried through. This was done on Thursday. By Sunday, it's still a big story. And Dr. Briggs goes on and roll the tape.
I worry that we don't get the information to the American people that they need when we continue to bring up something that was from Thursday night. So I think I've answered that question. I think the president made it clear that physicians had to study this. I think I've made it clear that this was amusing, as you described, but I want us to move on to be able to get information to the American people that can help them protect each other.
But doctor, that's not what the press wants. That's not what Tapper wants. All right, he wants to say that Trump wants everybody to drink Clorox. That's what they want. President hands it to him. I got a column just filed yesterday about all of this stuff, all of the media, and how dishonest they're being to you. All right, one quick thing. You might have heard about this guy, Dr. Rick Bright, okay? And this goes back to our original investigative report. President Trump removed him as the director of biomedical advanced research and development, okay, which is overseen by the Health and Human Services Department. He was removed and demoted to another job. Okay. So Bright is now saying he's a whistleblower. And guess who he hired to represent him? He hired Christine Blasey Ford's far-left attorneys. Can you believe this? This is like a movie. Deborah Katz and Lisa Banks. The most radical left attorneys in the country. This guy Bright hires. So why do you think you got fired, you moron? Because you're an ardent leftist in the Trump administration, and he doesn't want ardent leftists there. Okay, so you can see the rollout happening. And it's fascinating because the left, generally speaking, doesn't want this. They don't want people opening up. So there's either two reasons. One, they're looking out for you. They don't want you to get sick. Or they don't want prosperity in America. Which is it? I don't, roll the tape.
I've been watching medical associations, nurses associations, hospital associations tell governors, please don't do this. Please give us a stay-at-home order.
And then you go back to the sort of exponential rise that was happening, before we put in social distancing. So the risk is very great for resurgence from these early openings.
The Trump administration's response has officially become a three-ring circus. In the center ring, of course, the president shamelessly encouraging states to reopen ahead of adequate testing capacity or supply chains.
All right, so the left doesn't, they don't like anything Trump does. All right, we discount that. But isn't it interesting, though, that the ideology of liberalism in the media, no. They want all testing. It's impossible. Can't test everybody. I don't even know what good the tests do because you can test negative on Thursday and then get the virus on Sunday. So anyway, California had anarchy over the weekend, as we reported yesterday. About 95 to 100 in Southern California. And in Orange County, just south of LA, about 40,000 people showed up on the beaches, did not social distance. All right? So the pictures told the story there. And now Governor Newsom's mad. He's mad that so many people defied him. So he delivered a message yesterday, Monday, and demanded that everybody in California stop ignoring social distancing guidelines. Because if you don't, he's going to delay the reopening of the state. Kind of a threat. The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is telling the country he's not going to pass any more stimulus bills, any more help, unless Congress passes a law that stops the blood-sucking lawyers, the extortionists, from suing over COVID. Here's McConnell yesterday.
My red line in going forward on this bill is we need to provide protection, litigation protection, for those who've been on the front line, hospitals, doctors, nurses. And imagine you're a businessman thinking about reopening, and you've heard that the trial lawyers all over the country are sharpening their pencils, getting ready to sue you, claiming that you didn't engage in proper distancing or other issues related to health and safety. Look, we can't pass another bill unless we have liability protections.
That's why you're premium members and concierge members to BillO'Reilly.com. Now, McConnell's absolutely right. You got to pass the bill in Congress, and then we can see who's going to vote against the bill, who wants chaos in the federal government and in our court systems. Got to do it. Got to pass it. All right? Because we can't reopen with all these sleazy lawyers lined up to sue everybody. You saw how it got out of control with many, many other issues. So, proud of myself. I'm sorry I'm bragging. I'm sorry I'm not more humble. There was not one broadcaster in this country on a national level that said what I said. Not one. Did McConnell hear what I said? Yes, he did. How do we know that? Because we know that what we say here goes into all the power precincts and they read transcripts. Some of them are premium members. All right, here's a real important story for you. You remember Michael Flynn, former national security advisor to Donald Trump. And Flynn was charged with lying about his contacts with Russia. And he pled guilty. And some say he pled guilty because the FBI threatened his son with prosecution. I don't know whether that's true, but I know he pled guilty. Then he withdrew his guilty plea. Now, the case is moving forward. So Flynn's lawyers are entitled to discovery, what they call discovery. The prosecution, the federal government, is still prosecuting this case, all right? It's going to get thrown out. The case is going to get thrown out, but they're still doing it. Turns over, all right, notes from the FBI about Michael Flynn. This is amazing. Let's put it on the full screen. This note was written by a man named Bill Priestap. He's the former head of the FBI's counterintelligence division. Quote, "What is our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him, Flynn, to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired?" Unquote. January 4th, 2017. Now, this is in a conversation, I understand, with Comey and McCabe and all the other FBI bigwigs that Priestap is wondering, what's our goal here? Are we trying to entrap the man? He says it. He says it right out. All right, get him to lie. It's entrapment. So this is a huge story because it kills the case against Michael Flynn. Two things. Number one, the media will ignore this story, generally speaking, and on Monday, I'm going to have my staff look at all the media coverage of the Flynn story, and it's going to be scant. All right, but we'll run it down for you. And two, why didn't Mueller come up with this? Why didn't Robert Mueller have this? This is a written note by this Priestap's guy, who's definitely going to get indicted, in my opinion. Where was Mueller? Why didn't he have this? The FBI withhold that evidence from Mueller? It was Mueller's job to ferret all this out. The Durham report is supposed to come out in early summer. I hear it's going. It hasn't been delayed by the pandemic. I don't know that for a fact. That's what I'm hearing. This, devastating. Devastating. Not going to hear it. American people aren't going to know anything about it. The good news for Flynn is he's off the hook. There's no way on earth he's going to prison. And Trump should just pardon him now.